The Nine of Discs is called gain. And so this represents things getting better for us, and therefore the world actually looking better in response to that, as if things have come into focus, which is a symbol that we see prominently on this card. The Rider-Waite card shows this very physically. The world has become drenched in sunlight, which of course makes it look bright and beautiful. And the character here is clearly having a good day. They've got all sorts of wealth and success manifested around them, and there's birds and nature and all of the joys of life showing itself brightly around them. On the Tree of Life we are in Yesod, of which we find on that central pillar, and this is rather interesting here because this Sephiroth collects the energies of the Sephiroth on the opposite sides of it, which is Hod and Netzach, and also from Tifereth in the centre above it, and so it collects them and balances them, so they are no longer in opposition to each other. They're all finally coming together, and obviously when they come together things happen, things start to make sense. It's also rather interesting in that this card is very physical and material. It's a card of wealth and good fortunes, and we saw the esoteric writer Dion Fortune talk about Yesod as the treasure house of images and the sphere of Maya. And what she means by Maya is illusion, like a magic show, a magic lantern show, where the shadows move and dance, and yet in reality they're not quite what they see. And of course we have wealth in terms of physical money and physical things, and their actual value isn't their monetary value, of course, it's what they mean to us. It's the spirit of which is put behind them, and so that's quite an interesting little addendum to this, because this card certainly suggests great wealth and gain in all aspects of our life to come. Astrologically, it's Venus in Virgo, and so these are really good. So Virgo is an earth sign, and it's very practical and organised and so on, and so we're going to be very clear in our path. We know what it is that we're going to be gaining, and when it comes together with Venus, of course, of whom is concerned with love and the expressions of the heart and the pleasures, basically like what we saw with the Rider-Waite, you fall in love with the things of the world around you, whether they are a shadow show or not. They certainly exist in the heart and in the soul, and they mean a great deal because of that. The card is a balance and a harmony, and like that idea of things coming into focus, we can see in the centre 3 discs and orbs of which intermingle their colours, and yet also, like a prism, shine the colours out around them. And so whatever colours they are putting out radiate outwards into the world. That's in itself been something of a great esoteric truth. We become what we think. What we put out in the frequency of our thought is reflected outwards into the world. The same thoughts and similar thoughts will match the colour if we look at it on this card like that. These discs are like lenses, and it's a little bit like a consciousness version of an eye test, and so when they move all these lenses and things around until the text comes into focus. These lenses here are showing that things for us in our world and in our journey through the cosmos have indeed come into focus, and the discs are blue, pink and green. The green is the seed of creativity, the expression of manifestation that's been put through the card, and it's mixed with wisdom, of which we see in blue, and love and beauty, of which we see in the pink. And of course they are also very simple male and female coded symbols, and we will come back to that later because there is more on that. Now we will find that the other 6 discs, of which are split into 2 balanced sections of 3, form the shape of the hexagram, the as above and so below, and so of course we have yet again the coming into balance and harmony, of which we see here. And these discs are actually literally coins this time. They look like medieval coins, or really old coins with the monarchs' heads on there, and they are of course suggesting a physical wealth outcome for our query and our drawing of this card. it doesn't have to necessarily be money, of course. It can be wealth in any of its manifestations. Good news, for example, coming to us. It can be love. It can be merely finding a place in the world of where we feel at peace, of where our soul is wealthy with the beauty around us. And yet, of course, often this card is concerned with the coming of physical wealth, and it's the gain of business, the time of harvest, of where we gather all of our hard work together and view it with a great sense of achievement for what we have actually managed to manifest. Now, the coins themselves in this hexagram are, as we've seen, a harmony, and the three on the top are all masculine symbols, and the three on the bottom are all feminine symbols. And when we put them, of course, together, we figure out how we can make things gain in whatever it is in our life. And so it's really a wonderful duality of all of the things come together, and when we look at what the coins represent, they show us how to do it. And so, starting with the masculine ones on the top, this first coin here is Saturn, and obviously Saturn gets a bad rep in a lot of these things, but here it's showing how to gain things by knowing how to use your time and how to set your boundaries and where to go and where not to go. Often in business ventures and just in life ventures even, we don't often use our time properly. We can, you've heard this thing, you go on the internet for 10 minutes and 3 hours later you're scrolling through cat videos or something. That's not using your time very wisely. You should be on, focused, know exactly what you're doing and move on to something else. And so that's showing that. The next coin is Mars, and so this shows how to gain things through the expression of our energy, our life forces. So this is something that we've seen all the way through these cards, this suit of cards. The burning passion, the desire to actually get up and make it happen. We actually fall in love with our ventures, whatever they may be. We actually love what we're doing. And they say, of course, if you love what you're doing, you never have to work, because it doesn't feel like something that you're doing out of necessity. It's something that you're doing because you love it and you want to see it grow and expand, which is, of course, the way that things always should be. And the final of the coins on the top, the masculine coins here, is Jupiter. And so this shows us how to gain things through being open to new experiences and be going with the flow, be flexible. We want to see things expand like we've just seen. We want to see things grow, and we have to allow. There's this whole thing about the art of allowing. Don't try to force things, just allow them to be, allow them to grow naturally, and we will rejoice in the expansion of our consciousness and the things of which come with it. Moving on to the bottom coins, these are the counterparts, and so these are the feminine coins, and the first one being Mercury. And so this shows how to gain things through the effective use of our communication. It's how to express what we feel inside our heart and our soul, how to use words to get the point across, how to actually make ourselves heard. And this doesn't have to be simply in vocal speaking as such. It's literally, how do we communicate with the cosmos? How do we communicate with the world around us? Who we want to be and who we want to show ourselves to be. We have to be able to communicate, whether it's words, symbols, even just the clothes that we wear or the way we carry ourselves through the world. By doing it in a particular way, we will be able to see gain showing in our life like that. And the next coin here is Venus. And so, of course, this goes back to love, of course, and to literally fall in love with the things around us and find their meaning for us. And so we find gain in things by wanting to have these things around us of which we love and which mean something to us, whether it's a memory, or just because it's beautiful or because it makes us feel good. We fill our life with the things of which we love, and we want to see more of them, and so it leads to a gaining of things like that. And the final coin here on the feminine side of the coins is the moon. And so this obviously is a really powerful one. It shows how to gain things through the use of our instincts, through trusting our intuition. And because this card often shows up in business ventures, you instinctively sometimes know what's the right investments and things like that. You just follow your instincts and the heart, not the head, that sort of idea. And more often than not, you will find yourself on the right path. You will fall into something of which you do end up falling in love with, and so it does naturally fill your consciousness with the want to expand and the actual desire to live in that world and to create that world for yourself and to put yourself out in the world showing this is who I am and this is what I do and here's what it means to me. And then of course other people will be attracted to it too, of whose thoughts are on that same frequency or who want to experience that frequency for themselves. And that's actually similar to how Crowley describes this in the Book of Thoth. He says it's good luck attending your material affairs. It is favour and popularity. And so when you draw this card, it's a really good one. It's all about that gain of finances, improvement in aspects of our life of which we have wanted to make ourselves better with. We can actually finally start to see results showing physically in our life. And so really it's a bit like getting a reward for your hard work, that time of harvest, like we've said, that time of showing I've done all these things, I've put out all these thoughts, and they're coming back to me. The colours of which I have reflected into the world are reflected back to me, and now I feel a sense of achievement, a sense of hope, and a reward for all the journeys of which I have had so far up to this point in our ever-expanding universe.